So there are a couple of people actually who are following me since IT. Cool. It's something like this. If you want to ask actually what's happened, this pattern itself is actually complete. Now in which direction? Now if you go back to the ITA scene, it's similar to this kind of scene. And I think I made a weekly webinar. Not that time I was not having the weekly webinar, but I think I used to give you the updates regarding it. So somewhere here I made a update that this is a crucial point, because this itself is a complete pattern as a 1 2 3. Also this itself is also a complete pattern, making it 1 2 and 3. So which one is which? And the key always relies in the future. So at this time I think I got some crucial comment, some critical comment, that what the hell are you talking about? You are saying that this could do this, and you're saying this could do this also. Everybody knows that. I think some comment is like that on that particular video. So if you pay attention, I think I made this thing clear at that time also, that from here to here nothing has changed in terms of the price, but structure wise this market has set up for this move. Now that video was on 11th. Yeah, like if you can recall, I think, yeah, that's the video. I think somewhere here you can figure out what is the date, and there over there I think the channel is still alive. I'm not sure how long, but yeah, I think it's around 11th. You can see somewhere here. No, I don't think it's around 11. It should be somewhere here, close to that area, so you can look at that. But the thing what I'm saying, if this pattern develops like that or something like that, like every buyer will come in this market and they'll try to push it up. But if they are failed to do it, this will become a first impulse for the downside and the corrective structure for the downside. So if that happens, we all will be a selling here. But what has happened is in front of you now, right? You can see. Now that particular mean, actually this is your first impulse, 1 2 3, and you're going up. So that's what I'm saying. It's a similar case today also. If you pay attention what's happened here, this is your first impulse for the downside. And the way I'm looking at, like, remember from the last week, I was not looking that impulse. Somewhere here there was an impulse, I think, on a lower time frame. So I was not looking that as a first impulse. However, I was looking the first impulse in the bank Nifty, and I'm still holding on to that thought. Over here I was not looking at this impulse as a first impulse for the downside. I mean, I need some certain criteria. Now for this market, and this pattern is actually complete itself pattern. First it got completed somewhere here, and this is the second time they got completed. Now what's the scene in this? If we want to go down, that's the case, and this is the channel actually we are following. This is a particular channel we are following, and I'm paying attention on this channel, and now this can be treated as a first impulse for the downside. Now the question is, should I sell it? And second question is, this can also might look like an evening star, right? People might think this is a candlestick pattern. So yeah, that's also that, if you are paying attention. But this is very crucial zone. Now this red candles does not mean they cannot go down or they cannot go up. They can do anything they want to do. The key relies what happens afterwards. That's the main question. And if you pay attention, if I have already fibbed this impulse for the downside, which means I'm now taking that as a first impulse for the downside. So any corrective structure I see here, I'll try to sell it around these levels. Don't worry if it goes more down. If this is to go 9,000, there is going to be very good trading opportunity that's going to come. Don't worry, somewhere here we can take advantage of that. So if something like this appears on the charts before the election, I think then you know the like you already know the answer to that question. Now are we going to the 9,000 or not? So it's neither me or anybody else, it's actually the market which is going to tell us that whether it's going to be 9,000 or not. And as a trader, it doesn't even matter, because we can make money in both ways. We are here to make money, right? So it's something like that. So if you find something like this not breaching this impulse, and making a corrective structure for the downside. You can hope and you can make a swing trade if you want to. However, I would pay attention on this trend line. That could be a first target for the downside, but this swing trade can be executed only if you see something like that. So this is the first impulse for the downside. We can take that. Now what if this is not the first impulse for the downside, or they want to make complex corrective structure? Now what is a complex corrective structure? This is also complete pattern for the downside here. They should have gone. What they did, boom, they turned back into the more complex corrective structure. Now believe it or not, this authority and this structure itself has a nature itself to convert into complex corrective structure. I have seen many times. So they'll do something like that, they'll do something like that, and boom, boom, and boom, like that. So this has completed and this has been corrective for the complex corrective structure. So that's like a long-term picture. So what's the scene for this week, and what's the like trading opportunity we can take advantage of that? So this week, this is the trend we are following. This is the first impulse we are following. Every trade I'm going to execute here and here, these all trades will be short term. Near these levels, if I find the market, I can look to buy again based on this corrective structure. If I find a complete corrective structure for the upside, this could be converted into swing. If this is not a complete corrective structure, then this will be also intraday buys. So as long as we don't have a complete corrective structure, all trades will be for the downside and upside. It's like incomplete, like this is only first impulse and they're just coming to down. So expect them to like correct this impulse. You drew the three-way pattern last week to go up, but it's not exactly how you have drawn it, but how the market went up after that. I think you're talking about this thing, right? So I think we were having a weekly webinar last week somewhere here. This was the impulse. This is your 1, this is your 2, this is your 3, and I think I have drawn something like that. This is your 1, this is your impulse, and this is the 1A, something like that, and go back up, right? So there are tons of patterns which can be formed after the impulse. The concept is this: you look for the impulse, you look for the complete corrective structure, and then trade the next impulse. Now that formation is the basic formation. It's like ABC, or it's like XYZ, whatever. So that's a representation of the corrective structure. Now, are they going to form the exact corrective structure? I have no idea, but I know all the corrective structures, which means I can take advantage of that, right? This is corrective structure, this is the corrective structure, right? Even this is a corrective structure. They all look different, but they all have similar criteria into that. So this does mean I'm looking for a corrective structure. It doesn't mean that they will form exactly the same, but they will form it. You can see they have formed it, right? So you need to either learn all the corrective structure or use some indicator, right? As simple as that. Anyway, so what I was saying, in this week I'm not actually going to execute any swings, but I'll be paying attention on this impulse. If this comes upside for the corrective, there is a 1 impulse for the downside. Now I'll take that as an intraday move. So this week I'm going to trade intraday Nifty. So bank Nifty,